listening to the Career Musician Podcast with creator and host, Nomad. With 20 plus years of experience in the music industry, Nomad has done just about everything to earn a living as a career musician. From being music director to celebrity artists, playing iconic arenas and stadiums, composing for film and TV, and even playing your average local club gigs, he's done it all. Nomad's mission is to empower musicians across the globe with strategies for a sustainable career while blasting stereotypes, and to bring you tried and true wisdom from his colleagues in this crazy business we call music.
Okay, now that you're here at the Career Musician Podcast, you might as well sit back and listen to this amazingly captivating story about DJ K Young. Born in Seoul, South Korea, abandoned after birth and left on a doorstep of a police station, Rachel Hagen, as her parents would name her, DJ K Young, was not expected to become anything but a number in the system. Well, after months of being in an orphanage, she was adopted and brought to Minneapolis, Minnesota, Funktown, USA. Well, guess what happened? She became a musical force to be reckoned with. As a prominent DJ collective member, she is also hosting her own show on Sirius XM Radio. And if that weren't enough, she is a Monster Jam host. Now, if you've never seen a Monster Jam show, you should go check it out. Speaking of which, I just so happen to know another Monster Jam host, Lovely Lola. That's right. Now, Lola is my better half, my much better half, I might add, as part of the duo Nomad and Lola. She is also DJ K Young's friend and co-host. These two fiercely talented and empowered women bring you another episode of The Career Musician. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of The Career Musician Podcast with yours truly, Nomad, and today I am joined by two beautiful women sitting before me.
Oh, thank you.
Our guest today is DJ K Young.
Hey, woo-hoo. Thank you for having me.
And along for the ride is my co-host, the lovely Lola.
Hey, it's my first time, so, take it easy on me.
All right. Well, we will all take it easy on each other. How about that?
Sounds good.
So we were just talking about, to start, DJ K Young's website, and I asked her URL, and she said, it's simple, DJ K Young. So DJKYUNG.com. And I said, you know what? I love it when artists have consistent branding. It's something that I've really strived for with all of my different entities, Nomad and the Career Musician. And then you started talking about your website and how you built it yourself. I think it's actually a great place to start. Lola, you mentioned it. You're like, oh, shoot, we should capture this. So let's start there.
All right. Well, yeah, I used for artists, whatever genre or wherever you're from, I think like when we are in a point of still being kind of like in that independent realm, it's good to find companies that, you can use that are user friendly, like you were saying, Lola, like that are very user friendly. And I feel that I've used some other companies that we talked about, right. And I find that this company, Wix, has been the easiest to work with, and I can update it, almost instantaneously, and it's just, I don't know. So you guys should definitely check it out.
That's perfect. Yeah. Thank you. And I think it's a great way to start. Typically, I cover this at the end of each episode, but this is great. So now people know where they can find you as we continue on with our discussion.
Yeah, I'm looking at your website, and I'm checking out the little logos here. Those are your sponsors, or what are what's the union?
So the union is one of my DJ coalitions alongside the Violator All-Star DJs. So what a DJ coalition is for the most part, you have to be asked into coalitions. So for the union, one of the founders, he apparently had been watching my social media and what I was doing he said about a year and a half. And then he approached me and said, hey, I'm DJ S1. I'm from New York City. I co-founded the Union DJs. We're a DJ coalition. And, these are the DJs in the coalition. So basically what it does is it's supposed to empower all parties involved. So if we all three were DJs in a DJ coalition, you could call me anytime and say, hey, K Young, it's Nomad. I need some information on how to get on, the radio, or how did you play this mix, or or how did you get this mix on, or something like that. And within the music industry, contacts and things are very private, and we hold on to them like our social security number. Like I would give my social security number probably out before I'd give a contact in the music business out.
It's very cutthroat like that.
So these coalitions are kind of like a safe haven to where I can share ideas and information and my networks with people who I know aren't going to go outside and take them and exploit them, and things like that. So that's what it is.
I'm fascinated by this because literally in my notes, I take extensive notes. Lola and I do this all the time with all of our work. And in my last stream of consciousness, I put down that I want to create a code, an honors code, sort of like a coat of arms that the career musician takes an oath to, a pledge to, so that way musicians aren't undercutting each other.
Right.
Because I always said, I feel like in the music business, we're crabs in a bucket. Everybody's literally climbing on top of the next person to get out of the bucket.
For sure.
Well, it's like, guys, if we all sat back and said, okay, let's think about this. Let's build a ladder. Okay, let's build a human ladder, right?
Or
so we all have to connect, or a crab ladder, right? I love it.
Yeah.
See, exactly. Sorry for the silly illustration, but you get the idea. So wait a minute. So DJ coalitions, how long has this been around? Is this something...
Well, I started 13 years ago, and before that, they were still.
They were around.
They were around. I mean, I don't think it's like something that started in the 80s or 90s, or I mean maybe the 90s, but it's not like, I wouldn't say it's old, but it's not a new thing,
Okay.
But if you look back to the history of hip hop and DJing, like. You had your crews, you know what I mean? You had your DJ and your artist, who was at the time your hype man, and then you kind of had your b-boys, your break dancers, and the elements of hip hop all came into play, and that was your crew. So if you really, I guess, break it all down, the beginning of hip hop and the beginning of DJing and artists and things like that kind of was your crew. That kind of was like your DJ crew, because you didn't go, cool. You being, you're from New York, so I mean, you going to the Bronx and hanging out with this DJ crew, you're battling all elements. You're dabbling battling, in the form of DJing and freestyle and dancing and all that stuff. So I guess that could be the start, I guess, if you want to go all the way back.
That's really cool. It's like it almost started like as the gang culture.
Correct.
With a positive spin, because obviously you're making music,
it's a
not
brotherhood.
war.
Yeah.
Brotherhood, sisterhood. I mean, yeah.
For sure.
So wait a minute. So it's not really a network thing. It's not something that where they give you each other gigs. It's more just supporting each other.
Oh, I mean, you can get gigs. Not to put anybody's business out there, but I've seen where other DJs have given high profile gigs. That's kind of how I've gotten some of my start on radio, was because they gave me a slot on air, just one, and then it flourished into doing more. And all you need is one.
Yeah, all you need is one.
So yes, they do, depending on your network and how things happen, they can get you into doors, they can get you more gigs.
Wow.
And we don't have like a written code of ethics. It's just understood. When you join a DJ coalition, that's your family. I can go to New York City and make one or two phone calls, and I'm in Power 105, or I'm It's Serious, or and it's not because I'm exploiting. I'm not exploiting my my contacts. It's because you also have to be, you have to be a genuinely good person.
Yeah,
you
mean? You can't. The love.
You can't just take. So I pride myself on good networking. I mean, I don't feel like anybody you ask in the music community would say that I've ever done bad business, or you know what I mean? Because I pride myself on that, and so I've been able to capitalize on things that my DJ coalitions have been able to give to all of us,
Right.
So.
Right.
So are you all?
Go ahead, Lo.
Is everybody in the union and
The Violator All-Star
yeah.
DJs?
Are they? Yes. Are they all kind of like in the same genre of DJ? Like, are you all? Are you competitors directly?
In a sense we are.
Friendly competition.
Yeah, friendly competition.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more of definitely with the union DJs we have reggae, soca, obviously hip hop, rap, R&B.
Nice.
We've got top 40s DJs. So it's still basically in the overall genre for them. The Violator All-Star DJs, they're kind of they were founded in Chicago. I guess you could say founded in the Chicagoland area, but also in New York, definitely heavily in New York. I guess we would say New York founded and then brought to Chicago. So with that being said, the Violator All-Star DJs were known for Chicago house music, hip hop, rap, R&B, freestyle. And then of course with the founder of the Violator management and record label and things, Chris Lighty, who's passed away, he was more hip hop, rap, R&B. That was Busta Rhymes, that was LL Cool J, that was all those people back in the day. And then the founder of
I came up with that era.
Yeah, and the founder of the DJ crew of the Violator All-Star DJs, who was great friends with Chris Lighty, he, was from Chicago, so that's how the house styles came. Now, I came into this crew way after they had been founded, and through that era, I came way after that, but I was definitely influenced by, what they've been doing. So.
Wow. So we started like right in the middle.
Yeah,
right,
sorry.
Obviously,
Yeah.
DJ K Young, welcome to the Cruisers Podcast.
Thank you.
And yes, DJ K Young is a DJ. I know we didn't, usually I start there, I get a little bit of history, but I love how we delved right into it. So thank you for that. I love the concept of DJ Coalition. Like I said, I plan to bring it to the career musician for musicians. It's an ethics code that I think as independent contractors, we all need to be accountable for something, some code of ethics that says, hey, you can't screw me out of this gig because we're in the same little coalition, and let's not compete in that manner. We can compete friendly, I got this bad riff, I bet you can't play this, that's fine. But not like, I just called this manager who was going to hire you and I underbid you and now I got your gig. That's ridiculous. Why would you do that to one another? Right.
But that's what happens in the music industry all the time.
Right.
And it's crazy. Like, I love that. I truly didn't even know about the coalition kind of idea.
That's why I'm fascinated. Yeah. That's why I've spent so much time. Yeah, it's really cool.
It is. It's something that I think all musicians should adapt to.
Yes.
And, and we'll just take it to the next question is I know a lot of people might argue that DJing isn't a musicianship, or isn't considered a career musician. But I mean, the argument is, my God, if you look at your website, especially, you'll see all the different facets where you can make money, where you can have the big E word exposure, which sometimes is free, but sometimes also translates to such a bigger number that you couldn't pay for. Right. So can you bring her website back up?
Sure.
Checking that out. My question to you is, how do you get inspired to make your music? Like, how does it work for you?
I take it from, so I'm not the DJ. A lot of people nowadays in 2020 think that the DJ is also a producer, and I've dabbled in the production, and I've dabbled in
Thank you for saying that.
remixes.
Yes.
Yeah, I've dabbled in the remixes and dabbled in a little bit of production, but I came from a background. I played the violin. I started playing the violin at 3 years old, so I know what being an actual artist of instruments is, and I played the cello, French horn, dabbled in the organ and piano as a child.
So you have a nice background.
So I mean, I guess I will.
Nice diverse.
Yeah, I would say I'm not great at all of any of those things anymore, but but
you've touched those.
Yeah, I've touched those things. If you had a violin here, I probably could play it and play a little tune or something, but yes, I understand what being a musician is, and and understanding and loving that aspect. But I feel a turntable is my violin.
That's right.
You
It's
know?
your instrument.
That's my instrument.
Yeah.
So I get my inspiration from other DJs and from other people, watching them, how they perform. That it inspires me. It doesn't make me feel like I'm in competition. Mm-hmm. It inspires me to do what they're doing on that level. And I love to watch other DJs' creativity on how they might transition into the next song, or how they're, cutting this record, or where did they cut the record at to make that scratch, or to make that, sound or whatever. So I break down when I'm watching videos. I break down, probably just like you as artists do, break down somebody that you're watching and how they're doing things. And then I try to make it my own. Mm-hmm. Or try to learn from what they're doing and try to master it on my end using my own way.
Right. You kind of reverse engineer it and put your own spin on it. I think that's something we all do.
Nomad will tell you, he spent basically from 13 to 18, he was mimicking Eddie Van Halen. That's all he was doing in his bedroom.
There was about probably about a good dozen guitar players that I was emulating and stealing little concepts from.
Sure.
But that is art.
Yeah.
Really, that is the what do you call it? The process of creating your own art.
And you guys know too, with technology and right now, I mean, if you were in the DJ community, everyone is saying anybody can be a DJ, but it's true. Anybody can be a DJ, just like anybody can be a producer now.
Mm-hmm. I say they did that with music too.
Now
you can be a producer because you can make beats on your phone.
Exactly.
I have GarageBand.
Exactly.
I can make a
Now
song.
there's little apps that are free that you can make beats on.
I was watching this I guess video podcast, and some guy had built a machine that kind of looked like the Echo or whatever, the
Google thing.
The Google thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you could record in it. Yeah. It would mix down your vocals.
Oh, yeah.
You could add reverb. You could do all this stuff.
I have one.
You do?
It's called the Spire.
Yes.
Yeah. Isotope makes it.
I don't know who makes it.
Here's the crazy part.
But I was like, wow.
Well, I bought one because I thought, and this isn't a stab at the company. It's neither a promotion or a stab at them. I bought one because I thought, ooh, this would be a great songwriting tool. When Lola and I are sitting down to songwrite.
Oh, I know exactly what we're talking about now.
Record, and you let it roll. Okay, in theory, it's great for that. But now there are people using it in place of Pro Tools or Logic or Ableton. I'm like, no, guys, this is not a full-blown production studio. It's just not. Sure, with the app and the software, yes, it's cool. It's a great tool, but it does not replace the professional tools of the industry. And I think that's what you're getting at.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I think when we go to the musicianship of DJing. I mean, I'm 5 feet tall on a good day. I'm not that strong. I'm not carrying crates
you
of.
Look strong. I'm not. Like you do
they work out, yeah.
She's lying right now.
I'm saying you're full of it because you are. I can tell. Look, I do a lot of training too, and I can recognize it on people. You could train. I mean, you could mess somebody up.
I work out, but I can't carry crates. Back in the day, carrying all the crates and stuff.
Because with all the vinyl.
Yeah, with all the vinyl and the crates and stuff. So yes, technology has made me a better musician because now I can take my DJ controller, my hard drive full of music, and my computer, and I can put on a performance. I don't have to carry my turntables, which are super heavy, and my mixer. But do I? I love to do that.
I would say the fact that you have all that gear, you have the original gear that it takes to create the stuff for real. That's important. If you just said to me, oh yeah, I have a little Serato tiny tabletop rig and my laptop. I'm like, anybody can do that for $150.
Yeah, for sure.
But you have the real shit, so that's important.
Yeah. I mean, you both of you appreciate this. Like when you drop the needle on a vinyl record, that's music to my ears. Yeah. It's just like
she's been begging me to hook up the vinyl again.
Yes,
we have it, but it needs some maintenance. So
there's totally a difference in sound. But when you're out there performing, don't you feel like the technology gives you it's easier, obviously, but there also is some really cool stuff that you can do with that versus that you can't do.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, there's a zillion buttons on my DJ controller, and I can echo and I can,
edit, paste,
yeah,
stutter,
I mean, so many things.
Rewind, reverse,
and
speed up, slow down.
It's made me sound better, but
they're great tools.
Yeah, they're great tools if you can use them with the understanding of the basic art of what it is you are as a musician. I mean, you as a guitarist. I mean, I'm sure there's so many things that you can do looking around here that can enhance the way you play the guitar. But if you don't have that core foundation, you still, there's nothing you can do about that.
There's still no substitute for putting in the hard work.
Right.
And what is the hard work? Not scrolling through Instagram or delving into the YouTube black hole to try. The hard work is sitting down and actually learning how to do it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Right, for sure.
And just honing that craft. Yeah, I love that.
So I want to know, what did it for you? What made you go, I'm going to be a DJ?
Good question.
That's it for me.
Oh, that's a loaded question. So I started with a good friend of mine. She wanted to try out for this show called Making the Band on MTV.
Yes.
Danny D. Kane
I know so many people who came through that show.
Oh my
It's
gosh,
crazy, yeah.
right? So we went, I was in college. She was a soccer teammate of mine. So we drove up to Minneapolis and she tried out and she did fairly well. She made it to whatever round. And then, obviously didn't make it, but I was 3 or 4 years older than her. So I kind of had I wouldn't say I did not have a grasp, but I was older than her. I was, she asked me if I would help her out with her career and would I, kind of manage her. And I said, well, I really don't know anything about it. She goes, yeah, but you have common sense. And I was like, well, yeah, okay. So
God, I wish all managers had common sense.
She's right. She's like, you have common sense. She's like, we'll learn it together. And we dove right in. We learned it together. And I found, and this is the crazy part, I found that, and as musicians, trying to submit your music, right? I don't want solicited, unsolicited, da-da-da. You had to go through all that, right?
That's right.
So I had dabbled with DJing in high school. I mean, nothing came up. It was just pure for fun. And I kind of sat down. I'm like, these DJs don't want to play my artist's music. She's a great artist. How can I get them to? Because of payola and all these things, and I don't have the budget to be paying car notes and buying drinks every weekend at the bars and clubs. Right. So I was like, what if I became a DJ and used the title?
Smart.
And use the title because if you're a DJ, Nomad or Lola, if I say, hey, guys, listen to this record, and you're a fellow DJ, you're going to be more apt to listen to it, or at least give me feedback, or at least something. Whereas if you're, if I'm just a manager and you're a DJ, and I'm like, hey, you got to check out my artist record, you're going to be like, okay, you and 10,000 other people that I've got to listen to, what's so special about you? Mm-hmm. So I made a very conscious effort to become DJ K Young. But I said to myself, okay, if I'm doing this, I can't be fake because I'm going to get called out and then it's going to ruin the reputation of my artist as well. So I said, I can become DJ K Young. I can throw shows. I invested $10,000 worth of equipment. I had microphones, speakers. We put on our own shows because they weren't getting, because it was hard to get booked, things like that. So I invested all this.
Your own pro audio gear.
I brought my own mobile sound system and everything, and I was their DJ, and
Beautiful.
And I made it. And I guess I didn't make it it wasn't being fake, but I made it to where we could put on a concert. Well, I mean, a show anytime at the drop of a dime because we had the equipment. We didn't have to wait for anybody. We didn't have to do anything. And I started becoming DJ K Young, and I was getting into the doors of other DJs playing at clubs and getting to them to listen to the music for radio because I had the DJ title, and I also had certain things at that time that were credible to being a DJ. You know, MySpace just came out. Remember MySpace?
I was so big on MySpace.
Yes.
I had fans there.
So big on
Why?
We should get a t-shirt. I was huge on MySpace.
That's a great t-shirt for her. But, you know, like MySpace wasn't, you know how you can be validated now on social media by the blue checks and all that things, you know?
Sure.
And Instagram, you can post your entire life. Well, MySpace, you still were limited.
Right.
But I still could validate myself as being a DJ. And long story short, you know, my artist and I parted ways. And I said to myself, well, if I can promote these guys, I know I can promote myself even probably 10 times better.
Right.
Because I can hold myself accountable.
Right. You're going to show up.
Yeah, I'm going to show up
late.
to the gig. I'm going to not be late. I'm going to put in the
work ethic is there.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's the underlying key to all of this. But so that's how you became a DJ. That is pretty.
Yeah, it was for other people.
That's a cool
it was
story.
It wasn't
That's smart.
me being selfish or unselfish. It was just me trying to manipulate the system in a sense, but in a way that wouldn't harm or hurt anybody.
Yeah, to your advantage, and it didn't, like you said, it actually lifted others up. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it was an investment for sure. On not just yourself, but others.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I ate a lot of ramen noodles for about a very long time.
Good. All right, so going now, reversing back. So now I'm looking at your website again. So born in the capital of Seoul, South Korea.
Yeah.
Abandoned after birth and left on a doorstep of a police station. Rachel Hagen, aka DJ K Young, as her parents would name her DJ. Okay,
Rachel,
so,
yeah,
absolutely. So then,
that's
and
just
then
the opening line.
the opening line was not expected to become anything but a okay. So your story is so compelling just from the first line. Can you encapsulate that for us real quick, distill it down?
So, I was abandoned, born in Seoul, South Korea. The story goes, the police found me and then they took me straight to an orphanage. And
hold on, pause. You're missing. She was found in a box.
Yes, sorry.
On the doorstep. Yes. On the doorstep. Like that is right there. That's the opening of a movie. Like it's incredible.
Yeah.
That is sorry.
No, you're good.
That's baffling.
Yeah.
I've never met anybody who has this story. Wow.
I don't really even feel.
There's weight to that.
Okay. Well, I've never felt like it was. Wow. It was my story because I just, kind of how
it's just normal.
Born. Yeah, I was like, that's me.
So the police.
So they found me. Yeah, no note. There was no note, so I had no birth date. There was no name of. So the orphanage named me Shin Kyung Ban. So Kyung is actually K Young. It's Kyung is Kyung. You separate the K from the Y and add the UNG. It's K Young. So I kept that as my DJ name. But yeah, and then I was adopted, I think, 6 to 8 months later.
Wow.
And then flown on a plane from Seoul to Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I have pictures. Obviously, I don't remember. I was only 6 months old. But.
You were 6 months old. Mm-hmm. You got adopted. So you were a year when you got adopted? Oh, no, you were six months because when you were born, they...
Yeah. So I wanted the...
Can you maybe 7 months. Maybe 7 months.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. So they take this infant fresh out of the oven.
For sure.
Put it in a box and deliver it to the police station. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yep.
All right, so then you come over here. You're not even a year old, Minneapolis, and you were adopted.
Yeah, by my great parents, and
that's amazing.
My dad's side, well, even my mom's side. My mom's side, they're my grandmother was in the church choir, so was my grandfather. My mom is an amazing singer.
Wow.
But on my dad's side, man, like music, like all my aunts were music teachers, went to college for music, classically trained pianists and organists, and they during Christmas service, that the Hagens are in the house because they're singing and all that stuff. And so I was raised in a very musically inclined family. I mean, my cousin was a professional dancer. She ballet and all that stuff, and she did very, very well. My other cousins on my mom's side is the same thing. So I was always around music and entertainment and the arts, I guess you could say, the arts.
I love that.
So, yeah.
But growing up in such a different environment from whence you came.
Yes.
I love it.
From whence you came. Yeah.
Talk about how hard it was and the struggles you faced.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in the Midwest. I mean, so you guys live in California. I feel very comfortable here. You know, a lot of...
You seem like a California, a Los Angeles.
Yeah,
That's what Lola keeps saying,
totally
and
do.
I feel like I'm more New York, kind of like
Yeah, she likes New
me.
York.
I love New York.
Yeah, I'm pretty tough. I don't know. Could you hang?
Yeah, I love
All right,
New York,
good.
but
Yeah, I like
LA's really actually this area. California is really growing on me. Actually,
Yeah.
I guess I just haven't spent enough time.
It
but
is beautiful here.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, it's no doubt.
But the Midwest, where I lived, wasn't heavily populated by Asian people and the community, and especially where I lived, it was very growing up, it was more rural area. So my parents are both Caucasian, you know, German and whatever else they might be. So I mean, growing up wasn't the easiest, but I mean, you can either be a victim of your past or you can be a survivor of your past. So I've learned that you have to understand that growing up as an adopted child in the 80s is also like, whoa, what is that? Adoption wasn't really
Kind of
the thing.
unheard of. Yeah. Nothing
So, I mean, it was great. My sister's adopted as well. She has different parents, a whole different story, you know. But there's stories upon stories of how bad the situations could be, but then there's stories upon stories about how great of a life I have, you know?
There you go. Yeah.
You know, so...
The eye of the beholder, the perceiver.
Yeah, it's the perception. I mean, definitely probably still scarred when it comes to some stuff, you know? But at the same time, I mean, man, I'm here, you know? I could be in Korea. I from what I've understood, and don't quote me on this, but from what I understood, once you turn 16 or 17 in that system, you get automatically kicked out of the orphanage. Now, don't quote me on that, but from what I've understood and researched, so had I not been adopted,
Who knows?
who knows where I would have,
I mean, literally, you know, thank God for your parents.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, and her dad is a pastor.
Yeah.
So cool.
And here's the funny part. Now, obviously, my dad was not a pastor.
I think he was the antithesis of that.
Yeah, he was the opposite of that. But what I love was a story that you shared with me about how just both of our fathers instilled, and maybe this is just the time that, because we're kind of around the same age, you know, real 80s babies here.
I love it.
Our dads pretty much gave us that same mentality of, you know what, if somebody screws with you and like continuously, not like, you know, like people make mistakes, whatever, and we be kind, but if somebody is totally fucking with you, excuse me, you have absolute right. You have right to punch them right in the face.
Stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And I had an issue on the bus. I was telling Lola, I had an issue on the bus with this kid, and he was making, you know, the normal Asian racist jokes, you know, moving his fingers to his eyes and making them, you know, slanted and pretending to speak in whatever pretend Asian language he had made up in his mind. And
His minuscule
Yeah.
of a brain. Yeah.
And I kept telling my dad, you know, this kid is like bothering me. He's bullying me, and bullying in the 80s, that's, you know, it's a whole different thing than here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, my dad told me, he said, well, he's like, you can either sit here and cry about it or you can do something about it. And he's like, if you punch him or if you hurt him or if you just stick up for yourself, you know, that's what you have to do, you know? So I got on the bus and he did it, and I grabbed him by his jacket and I was like, you do that one more time, I'm going to punch your face in, and whatever else I said, I don't remember.
Oh my gosh, I wish I had
Yes,
popcorn right
this
now.
little
I'm eating imaginary popcorn.
this
Keep going.
little itty bitty girl, you know, and then I remember I looked up, and everybody at the bus, even, you know, the 6th graders, the, you know, 7th graders were like, oh, well, we're not messing with her.
Can't mess with KO.
And the bus driver was a good friend of my dad's, and he said, I just let it happen because she needed to do it. It needed to happen. And my dad's always been like very pro woman, like, don't let anybody mess with you.
That's
know?
amazing. That's so cool.
My mom's like, should have probably been the pastor. My dad was like, no, you get in there and you know.
Now on a good clean fight.
He's
rubbing your shoulders.
Oh, yeah,
all right.
for sure. You know, putting everything on, putting my,
Give it some tips.
yeah.
That's
Watch
awesome.
that right hook, you know.
Well, I think one of the parables in the Bible, turn the other cheek. I think that is misconstrued, like so many other parables and stories in the Bible, that they can just be misconstrued. And if it's taken out of context,
right,
then of course it means something totally different. But that's amazing. So what I'm seeing here, and what the listener cannot see, is the little friend glow that the two of you have. So now I want to shift gears a little bit. So you both work for a very big company called Feld Entertainment, and you both ended up on the Monster Jam tours. Super cool.
Yeah.
I love watching you guys. I hate it when my wife has to leave for the weekend because I'm all bummed out. But now she's giving me a taste of my own medicine for the 10 years that I was traveling on the road on the weekends as a musician. Anyway, tell us a little bit about how you ladies met and that, because you definitely both have a really awesome dynamic and synergy.
We're getting along great.
Yes.
Like it's, there some tours with when you tour, you have, as a musician, when you get involved in a band, maybe it's the same people for however many years or seasons or whatever.
It could be for years.
It could be.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky. If you're part of a good one.
Years,
This is a really big company, and so the tours are always changing. So every year you just don't know who you're going to be paired up with, and they really go through painstaking efforts, I would say, to pair people up that would match personalities.
That's smart.
They don't give us the what's the name of that test that tells you what kind of personality you have? Do you know what I'm talking about? Somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. It's a personality test, and it tells you like what kind of. We're not doing that, but just in general, like this is my 5th year with them, and this is. Like, I've toured with a lot of great people. Janelle, I love you. All right. You're awesome. Sam, you're awesome too. But I will say, me and Kay Young have really blended.
Yeah,
we're really very, we will talk for hours about music. We'll talk for hours about monster trucks.
I was just going to say, it's synergy that happens when you have things in common. But not only that, it's chemistry.
Yeah.
We all have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
We might only have 1 or 2 best friends,
right.
quote unquote. Not all of your friends can be your best friends.
Right.
That's just the nature of who we are as humans, I think.
Yeah.
Well, and I've been with the company for 7 years, so I had a little bit of a head start on her, and I've worked with her, sporadically throughout the 7 years, but we've never been on tour. So
this is your first.
This is our first tour
on
together.
The same
yeah,
tour.
I mean we've roomed together a couple of times, and we've done a couple events, and filled in and all that stuff. But this was the first time, and for me, I told her, I was like, I was so excited because when you get, especially for me, our work weekends. Those are our work weeks.
Yeah.
Our weekends are our work weeks.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it's jam-packed. You guys are intense with your schedule.
But just musicians.
Yeah, but
and
musicians,
music.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Look, I'm talking the whole week. We all are. It's the same. You're right.
Yeah. Everybody else is Monday through Friday, and going and getting a second job on the weekend is, just supplemental. This is a different commitment.
Right.
We're like Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah.
Right,
Monday
exactly. And so with me doing this kind of entertainment art form, I don't get to DJ other than just doing my radio mixes and things like that. I'm not at the clubs, for this period of time. I'm kind of just, I'm still trying to make sure that I'm up to date on everything, and my music is still getting downloaded, and I'm still seeing what the charts are for, all the genres that I play, and I'm still doing my studying, but I'm not playing it. And, off subject, I mean, as musicians, your audience also helps you figure out what the things are to play, or them.
Right.
So I miss that.
Keeping your ear to the street,
exactly.
Yeah.
I love playing in the clubs, so I don't get that. And I told her, I was saying how excited I was because I'm going to be like every morning we talk literally somehow our conversations go into music about whether it's the business admin side or it's the performance side. I'm always learning something new from her. She's giving me tidbits.
So basically you're replacing me every morning. Correct. Because at home, that's all Lola and I talk about. It's always music related.
In a 5-foot Asian body, I've become Nomad.
I love it. Well, hey, different incarnations.
Yes, there you go.
It's true.
Because sometimes we look at each other literally. We stumble out of bed at, say, 6:30 to help our daughter get off to school. And then by 6:45, we're like, oh, yeah, well, did you get the contract from this one? And then we look at each other and we're like, wait, what the hell are we doing talking about business? We haven't even had a cup of coffee. It's not even 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, and here we are talking about business. And, sometimes you have to remind yourself. So.
Well, and that's the cool part because my fiance and I, when I was on my way up here, he's, helping me renew my trademark, my name trademark up here. Right. And he was, like, you got to send me this and I need this and da-da. I'm like, well, I'm on my way, to do this with, Nomad and I got to meet up with Lola and da-da-da. And he's like, yeah, but I need this because we know, especially it's hard to find, first of all, somebody who understands touring and being a musician and being like being on the road, period. I've been with my fiance for 8 years and I've, gone through a lot of relationships that have just ended because they don't understand touring. They don't understand why you're taking a phone call at 4 a.m. or 2 a.m. or getting up to go send an email because your manager is screaming at you because you need this contract signed right now.
Sometimes that has to happen.
And it has to, especially if you are a careered musician. That's the way you make your income and your living.
That's right.
So I think it's important. For the relationship aspect of how you two have your dynamic, how my fiance and I have our dynamic, because he's a musician as well in his own right, and I think that having that is important.
It's amazing. So he is a musician as well.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, that's so cool, and you're absolutely right. If you don't have the understand, even if you're both not in that same career,
right?
But if the other person doesn't have the understanding of the person that is in the entertainment industry, it could be a recipe for some trouble down the road.
It takes a special type of person to be with somebody in this business, and unfortunately, I guess for all of for us here sitting here, we're definitely blessed with being able to find. But at the same time, like he and I, like we don't ever even really have like normal, relationship fights about, you didn't do the dishes. We're fighting about music. Like our biggest...
I can't believe you like that song.
Like, why did you do this? And why did you send this off? Like our arguments are never about who did the dishes or why didn't you take the trash out or normal like relationship stuff. Our stuff, like I won't talk to him if we're in the studio together and he says something and I'm like, well, whatever, and I storm off. Yeah. And that's our fights.
Yeah.
Sounds just like ours.
That's our fighting. So
I love it. You should hear when we first hooked up and started dating, and then obviously eventually got married. My mother, she does a great impersonation of my Italian mother because she's like, oh my God, so what do you do when he's on the road? Do you get lonely?
Oh, wow.
Hell no. And we always say, and actually your grandmother, very similar, she's like, well, maybe that's why your relationship is so great, because you have all that time off from one another.
Honestly, I think that's what's made it.
Yeah.
It helps. It helps. No lie.
It's okay, and it's okay to, as long as you have that communication and you have that trusting and understanding, I think it's okay to be gone from people. Right. You have to learn to miss people.
That's right.
But you also, in this business, have to learn to trust.
The trust. Yeah. The trust. The T word is the big one.
It's hard because insecurity is a mother. Mm-hmm. A mother. And it will screw you every time. And it's always, based on some sort of uncertainty or insecurity, whatever, and so having communication and trust and pixie dust. And all that.
Yeah, with T comes C. Yeah. Trust and communication is absolutely right.
It's hard.
And the chemistry, like you said, the pixie dust.
And I mean, he and I, I know that everybody uses FaceTime and calling, but he and I I mean, a lot of people think that we don't ever talk because I'm never on the phone with him, and I don't make it like. She was like, "Do you even talk to him?" And I was like, "I talk to him all the time because we're all constantly texting each other and we're having a form of communication." Right. But I mean,
that's the new norm.
It's super hard to be in a relationship with somebody who does touring. I mean, I'm sure there's stories upon stories we could all share. Of course. You know. About how difficult or what we've seen or experienced ourselves, you know, and it's just a hard business to have a relationship in, but
it's a hard business in general for anybody.
Right. Yes, period. For sure.
And it's interesting because touring, and it doesn't matter what kind of touring it is.
No, it doesn't.
Because touring is the same animal. You could be touring as a puppeteer for a some Pinocchio show, and it's the same thing. Same venue, same
you could
same
be
toilet.
on tour with within the medical industry, or pharmaceuticals, selling new technology, whatever.
Convention to convention,
exactly.
Same thing.
It's all the same.
Yeah, and I think it's what's interesting. What I really like about the career musician platform is it's really not specifically for guitarists or for drummers or for like whatever. Like it really is. What I would always say is the freelance creative. Mm-hmm. So if you're making money in the entertainment world, you could be a dancer. You could be somebody who dresses up like a statue and gets paid, thousands. Remember the girl? There was a girl at
done shows like that.
Well, it wasn't me, but there was a girl who was dressed up in this beautiful dress that like had champagne glasses attached to it. And I mean, now mind you, we're not getting rich off of these things, but we're doing such weird, quirky things that normal people don't get to experience,
the average person doesn't do that, right?
You know, so
but they're creative.
They're very creative.
But it's a creative platform, and I think Lola and I have talked a lot about being creative and what a creative does. You know, a person that made a champagne glass dress who's getting paid to stand on a soapbox and bell out some tunes or whatever. Right. That's still creative. She still took the whatever millions of hours it took to make that, and she's still out there performing and stuff. So however you express creativity, you are a musician. You're a career creative.
Yeah.
Empowering musicians with strategies for a sustainable career. The goal of the Career Musician Podcast is to provide valuable insight aimed at supporting working musicians. Please show your support by listening, downloading, subscribing, sharing, liking, and leaving a review.
Blasting the stereotype of musicians. Follow us at the Career Musician Podcast. Follow The Career Musician on Instagram and Facebook. Add The Career Musician to your playlist on Spotify.
Don't you think, I think there's two molds in this realm that we're speaking, the extrovert and the introvert. Now, I think like the three of us here are obviously extroverts. Yeah. You can just tell by the way we talk, even if you never met us. And then when you meet us, you'd be like, oh my God, these people are driving me nuts. Because we have so much energy and we're always on, quote unquote. That's what we do.
We can be.
And that's the flip side of it.
Yeah, we can flip it.
When we introvert, we go so far in.
Do not talk to me.
Do not disturb.
You hit the nail on the head, Lola. Yeah. I was talking. So let's talk about that a little bit, and how does that relate to what you?
Well, I mean, mine is like the complete do not disturb, and I usually quit music in my mind at least once a week, if not once a month.
If not once a day.
If not once a day.
We call it the artist roller coaster.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because your other best friend, Kristen, is always like, I can't deal with you. Are you on your roller coaster right now?
Are you having an artist moment? Are you having one of those artist moments? And it's like, yes, I am. I'm not good enough. Everything's falling down. Yes.
I think if we had a therapist for musicians, like, they would be the highest paid people in the world.
No, they wouldn't, because we're all poor.
Exactly, yes.
I don't mean that literally. I'm being facetious.
Oh, man.
Because that would be the first thing we would ask the therapist. Hey, the gig I was supposed to have last weekend didn't come through. Can I
talk
can I
to you?
pay you
Yeah.
next week? Well, you need some guitar
Oh,
tracks?
stop
Yeah,
it. It's the guitar track that we've been giving for free.
We always want to barter, you know? Right?
Bartering
Isn't that great?
is the best when it comes to being a musician.
Yeah, I was just
For
picking
sure.
your brain about that earlier, so we are
Yeah.
going to make some side deals
Yeah.
over here.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. We can make some
So
sad deals.
when touring, because that's the other thing is like a lot of people, because when you were touring as, you know, with your various gigs, Nomad,
Right.
you know, people would be like, oh, well, you can just piggyback your own tour off of that one, right? And it's like, yeah, in theory
Yeah,
you can,
in
but
theory,
you can't.
It just is so difficult.
You cannot. Now, our friend of ours who we're actually going to have lunch with later, John Saponaro, he's a comedian. He has been able to do it. And I
Yes.
want to pick his brain because and I think he alluded to it the other day. He's like, basically, and he said this as a comedian. And again, it goes back to that whole creative freelance being the same thing as a career musician. He's like, it's 4% being funny and, you know, 96% unanswered
Right.
emails,
Oh,
you know?
and hustle and
Yeah.
logistics.
So
and
he
being
nailed
patient.
it.
He did nail.
Yeah.
Because I was saying that to you this morning. I'm saying,
Yeah.
why won't these people just answer? Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's crazy.
What we do as creative, we make
Yeah.
something out of nothing. So because of that, it's not really tangible. You
That's
know,
right.
whereas like a plumber will make you a bathroom, and you can admire that every single day. Even though I made you a sound on that you can put on a CD or a file and that you can play out of your speaker, you can't see it, you can't taste it, you can't
So
smell it. It's
true.
invisible. So it's just not tangible, but it's like
true.
it's something that's so valuable. People
Right.
cannot make a movie without it. You can't work out without it. Like
Yeah,
you know, like
clean
you
a house
can't do
without
anything
it.
without
sound
music.
sound in general is what we've had these conversations about the deaf community. Like, what if we didn't have sound?
Yeah.
What if we didn't talk? Like, we as musicians and we create life. Minus to somebody who can't hear, we create
Moods. And,
yeah. How a DJ
Emotion.
A DJ can create a mood just by playing by me playing a different track. I have stories of how I would be at the club and the police would come in and talk to the manager and try to hear what I was playing, just because the mood of whatever I'm playing can change and direct a whole night, especially with alcohol involved. You know what I mean? But same with you guys,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And we go back to the conversation we were just having too about, I was on a music panel, not too long ago, and I told these artists, I said, yeah, I'm sitting up here in a music panel and I have all these accolades and I'm doing all this stuff, but I said, I would love for you to go through my email one day and look at how many no's I got or how many no replies I got to just get the one to put me up here. I said, it's not,
It's a great encapsulation.
yeah,
of
you can't judge my success off of all these amazing things and that I just got it, handed to me.
Yeah.
I said, I would just scroll at all the no's and no answers and you're not good enough or we went a different direction. All this stuff that they say.
If they say anything.
If they say anything. Is-
How many meetings have we been to, Lola, where we thought the meeting went swimmingly?
So
We're like,
good.
Oh, we're excited.
Yeah.
I remember one, we rode our bikes. We were here in Burbank.
Yeah.
And then we went and had this little lunch meeting and it was great. Then we rode our bikes to go have lunch and we're kind of like celebrating with one another and we're super happy. And then crickets.
Yeah.
And then we reached out and then they were like, oh yeah, thanks, but no thanks. What
Very
just
cold.
happened?
What
just happened? We
yeah.
were connected. We were hanging out. It seemed amazing.
Yeah.
But that's also part of the artist insecurity and not trusting our own compass and putting the value in the wrong place. The value is not necessarily, how do you say it? The value isn't in...
The value isn't in the gig. Your
No,
value
exactly.
is not determined by the gig. And the gig is anything you're doing right now. Literally, if you're sweeping floors somewhere in a warehouse, don't sit there and say, man, I'm just a bum, I sweep floors for a living. No, your value is not in that gig. That gig is just something that you're doing temporarily to get you to the next point in your life.
Right.
Your value is determined on your level of self-security. right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And confidence and what you tell yourself, and ambitious self-talk, and you know, mindfulness and all these things. So tell us about that. That's a question I like to talk about. Topic. Tell us about health and lifestyle, and not only from the physical aspect. I do want to hear about your training routine, dude. You got guns, come on, and you got nice shoulders and back. Come on, I want to hear about that, but I also want to hear about, you know, what do you do? Do you meditate? Do you know what health and lifestyle as it encompasses all?
I would start off by saying that I am a Christian. Like I have a firm foundation on religion, and
Awesome.
and I believe in Jesus, and He's my Lord and Savior, all that stuff. You know, so that's the foundation. But I am still human, and I'm an idiot. So let's talk about the bad stuff. Like, you know, I've been in the clubs. I mean, I've drank heavily, and I've done all the stuff that you're not supposed to do as a DJ, and partied and stayed up for 2 days. And, you know what I mean? That lifestyle, it doesn't even have to be a DJ. I mean, you know, both of you, it doesn't matter. It's just the lifestyle. You're up constantly. You're trying to go a million miles an hour. So I've talked extensively now to Lola about this, especially with this tour this year with us, her and I. Like, I've had to quit drinking, and I've had to start looking at my diet more, and I have had to really kind of do a complete 180 from what I was doing in 2019. And nice. And it's not because, yes, it was because it was forced upon me because of, like, you know, just trying to get my health under control, but at the same time also too, it was, I can't be 40 in the clubs DJing with these kids who are raging out, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, it's not that lifestyle. And that's the conversation I've had with my manager and other people in my team. Like, how am I going to develop a lifestyle to where I can DJ and be DJ K Young and stuff, but how can I make it to where I can live till I'm, you know, a good old ripe age and not kill myself being a DJ and staying out till 4 or 5 in the morning, get a couple hours of sleep, go to a day party and be drinking mimosas heavily until I have to, you know,
and then
you know those lifestyles.
We talk about it all the time. Yeah. We are doing the exact same thing, weaning ourselves out of that lifestyle.
Old me, right now I'm drinking green tea. Yeah. Old me, last year me, if I was sitting here with you guys, I'd have brought tons of alcohol. We would have been doing shots. I would have already probably been at least half off my rocker. You know what I mean? But because that's the lifestyle that's synonymous with being a DJ.
Right.
And I live the party.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's the party lifestyle. You get to do all these amazing and incredible things, and you're just having a blast in life. Well, I want to have a blast in life continuing on doing my job.
Because you're going to live past 30 people.
Exactly.
God willing, you know, you're going to.
That's the goal.
That's the problem with youth. Like, let's think about it. From the time you're a teenager and you start realizing that you're smarter than your parents, which obviously is a bunch of bullshit.
Right.
Starts at 12.
Yeah, exactly. We know from experience firsthand. From that time to the time you're in your early 20s, you think you're invincible. Mm-hmm. You literally don't think about mortality. You think that you are immortal. I remember specifically saying to myself when I was that age, like, I'm not going to die. What the hell is that? I'm 19. You don't think about that. And then you start growing up. And then you hit 40, because I hit 40, and now I'm in my mid-40s. and now I'm on the other side. I'm like, babe, holy shit, I'm going to die. And she's like, would you relax? I'm like, yeah, but babe, it's right around the corner. She's like, dude, stop.
Like, you're already planning
on the other
it.
side of the spectrum. And it didn't help, God rest his soul, that we had to go to your grandpa's funeral. And now I see that. But he was 40 years my senior.
Right.
And I'm like advancing 40, or no, more than that. He was almost 50 years my senior. So I'm advancing 50 years into the future now.
Right.
But when you're young, so I love the fact that you were cognizant of it.
But I was only
caught yourself and you said, wait a minute.
Recently cognizant about it. Like, literally, like, I'm talking about months ago.
Like January.
Like January.
But you're still not my age. You're still way younger than me. So my point is, you arrived, and I arrived there roughly around the same time. That you're like, wait a minute. Okay.
I got to get my life together.
Change some things here.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I've always been healthy. Like I got a soccer scholarship. I've played soccer my entire life. I went to college. I coached high school.
nice.
Like
So you're always athletic.
I've always been athletic, and I've always known how to be healthy. I just, as you said, thought I was invincible. And when I was partying in college, I was playing soccer. I was in the best shape of my life. I could drink a 12-pack at night and, go smoke a cig with my friends outside. You know what I mean? Do all these stupid things and go run the field like I was, and get all these awards and accolades as a soccer player. And now I'm like, I can barely run down the street. Like, what is going on with my life,
But that fundamental training you had stuck with you.
Correct. So now... and Lola's been great. We've been trying to go to the gym at least one time throughout the weekend because of shows and everything and events. Right. But she's been in the gym. She's been like, I'm going to the gym. And I'm like laying in bed. I'm like, oh, seriously? And she literally has her stuff on. She's like, I'm going to the gym. I'll see you there.
Yep, you're coming.
I'm so proud of you, Lo.
And then I will get up and I'll go to the gym, very like child tantrum-ish inside, stomping my feet, but I don't want to be in my room by myself, so I'm like...
But hold on, when you guys do these stadium tours, you're doing like almost 20,000 steps a day.
No,
but
not quite. But
yes, in a sense.
I'm doing more than 10, yeah.
But in the role I have, I don't move.
Her mouth does.
My mouth moves nonstop. It's getting like at least 20 miles.
We should look that up on Google. How many calories do you burn speaking?
Oh, that's a good Google.
And how many calories do you
feel
burn
better.
speaking passionately, like we're doing now?
Yeah,
and that's just more than a
gut.
Like,
from the gut.
Well, today on the podcast, you know what I mean? So you burn more calories. So you still burn calories.
Well, truth is, and she is like, she gets into it. Like, let's get back to racing.
Yeah, I use the DJ voice in me to
awesome.
Project out to the monster truck world or whatever you want to call it. But
I love that.
So now I'm eating clean. Now I'm working out. I mean, I still would love to taste all that behind us. And
so what DJ is referring to, we're at Nomad's place here, my studio in sunny Burbank, California.
Oh.
And behind us we have a little makeshift bar that my buddy helped me put together, Rudy Machenga, the set designer. And we use it for the Nomad and Lola Happy Half Hour show, which airs.
I love it,
Streams
too.
Live every Wednesday.
I watch it.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate it. So that's what she keeps referring to. But you know what, Kay Young, half of those bottles are either empty or from 1923, so you don't want to open them.
Yeah, no.
No joking.
Or they're like mixers, so they just have the sweetness that you mix with a vodka or a whiskey or something. But yeah,
he's lying. Cool. There's a lot of liquor over there. Okay. There's a lot.
I was gonna say, I'm looking at all that J-Mo and Jim Beam.
Okay, the J-Mo bottle is empty, thanks to me. But
yes.
I used to have a serious J-Mo fix, but I've gotten it under control.
Well, I'm actually sponsored by liquor.
Okay.
How did that happen?
Talk about that.
How did that happen?
First of all, you can't just drop that like a little needle. Like that.
Not to us.
That's a kettlebell, an 80-pound kettlebell that you just dropped on my toe. You're like, oh, by the way, I just dropped.
Well, I was actually telling Lola, I was like, I was trying to figure out how to, because I was gonna send you guys some, because it's a champagne company.
You still can.
Oh, I will. I gotcha. It's a champagne company, but they also do rum and they do a gin.
Oh,
so
neat.
I like it all, of course, but it's called Bel Air, and then the gin is McQueen Gin, and then the rum is called Bamboo, and so they're all under the Sovereign brands. So I mean, I still don't get me wrong, I'll still.
You have a cocktail.
Oh yeah, for
of
sure.
Course,
I mean,
yeah.
It's great stuff, but the branding, I guess, or getting a sponsor, I mean. That took years.
So how did you go about that? Because I think that's something that we can all relate to in this biz, in the entertainment.
Actually, that is not something I can take any credit for. I have a great manager, Andre Williams, and I had been on my own trying to get sponsorships and, just...
It's tough.
It's super tough. Yeah. And I had been talking to this liquor company for a while, and they just weren't, saying yes and all that stuff, and I just had given up. And then, long story short, he said, well, I ended up meeting somebody at a networking event, and he had helped some people get into Bel Air on his own from because he works at a record label. And so it's just kind of, it was one of those things where I can't take any credit, and I don't have a blueprint on how somebody could get to it, to do it. It just happened.
Yeah,
it's one of those phenomenons where it's like, dude, I did get handed the silver platter for that specific thing. I cannot take any credit. I didn't air quote work for it type thing.
But you did, because everything that you have done led up to that.
I mean, yeah.
And like we say, it's all relationship based. That's
this whole thing is relationship based.
Cosm of a thing we are spinning on right now. Yeah.
So their logo's on your website,
correct?
And are you their like official DJ, or what is it? What is it? What is the sponsorship?
What does that mean for you?
For me, it means I can. I'm one of many DJs that they have, but it means that like I can throw official Bel Air parties. So on March 21st, I'm going to be doing a party. If you'd like to fly out to the Midwest,
I have my other party that I have to do that day, but I'd love to be there. I'm
going to do. I like to throw networking parties because I live in such a small rural area where we're 2.5 hours west of Chicago. And we're about 6.5, 7 hours south of Minneapolis, and about 8 hours from Detroit, and 4 hours south or north of St. Louis. So that's kind of in the realm. We're just kind of stabbed right in the middle, and it's a very small city. And
what's it called?
It's called the Quad Cities. So it's 4 cities put together. So there's Davenport and Bettendorf, Iowa, and then the Mississippi separates Moline and Rock Island.
Gotcha.
And it makes what we call the Quad Cities, but they're all individual cities.
It sounds like you're going to be having Nomad and Lola at a Quad City event eventually.
You should. You should come out. And so it's a small, but there's so many, we've got musicians, and we've got all kinds of people, rappers, artists, producers, country, everything. It's a nice little itty-bitty city of a lot, of musicians.
Sounds like a nice melting pot.
Yeah, it's
like
a
showcase for everybody?
No, it's a networking event. So I started it last year, and it's invite only, and I try to bring people together. So from photographers to videographers to rappers to singers to band members. I had a drummer come, and he was, he does drums for... He's done like a lot of like live instrumentation drum wise for bands and country and hip hop. And so I try to bring all these people within our city and outside of the city to come and network. So post-production people, it doesn't matter what you do. If you're involved in the entertainment business somehow, and then what I do is Bel Air has given me the blessing to make it sponsored by Bel Air, but sponsored by myself and Bel Air. Bel Air sends me alcohol, and I get to give it away.
That's beautiful.
Do they send you get their bottles, and do you set up the event on your own?
Yeah, I set up the event on my own, and then they send me product. So of course, for them it's good because they're getting their exposure, and I'm getting to share alcohol with people, and
That's
awesome.
As people who are trying to get other people to like you and network with you, you have to give them something. You have to make it incentivized.
But you're absolutely right. But that you have to incentivize, right?
Yes.
How do you say that?
Incentivize. Yeah.
But a lot of times you have to build it yourself, which is what you just did.
Yeah.
So I love that concept of build it, and they will come.
Yeah, exactly. We're from Iowa, the mid, so if you build it, they will come. The field of dreams, get it.
You've been doing that from the get-go of your career, though.
I've been trying.
I love that. That's a hustle.
I don't live in California. I don't live in New York, and I do get kind of bummed out, thinking, man, if I had moved to LA when I was younger, if I'd moved to New York City or Atlanta, where would my career be? But for whatever reason, I have kind of turned the tables on myself, so to speak, because when I'm telling these artists, you can move to LA and Atlanta and Dallas and all, New York, but when you go there's a million other people doing exactly what you're doing at a higher probably intensity level that you're doing. And on top of that, they're probably 10 times better than you. And I was like, no offense to you, sir or ma'am, but that's just the way it is. And I said, what I loved about having not made that conscious decision to move yet. I mean, I think it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I'm going to move.
I was saying, you seem like you belong here.
Yeah.
We're claiming you.
Okay.
Well, the truth is, though, if I'm going to jump in,
Yeah.
because being a born and brainwashed, LA person
California.
myself,
Valley girl.
You're
such a valley girl.
oh my God. One could easily argue that, what you're saying is absolutely true. We are saturated. There's 10 million blondes that can sing and they can dance and maybe, they look better, whatever, right? Totally. And one would also, I would say even sometimes, we've made this argument, like if we went somewhere else that wasn't so saturated, become the big fish
And that's
in that smaller pond,
right.
then you can swim upstream with some real
And that's where
pride.
I made the table turn on myself, because I realized that I can go to the airport and jump on a plane anytime I want to, at any moment of the time I want to, and that there is not another Asian female hip-hop urban DJ within, I think I tried to do the demographics a couple years ago, within like 100 and some mile radius or whatever. So I have no competition to myself. I have no competition but myself.
Right.
So
Sometimes we are our worst.
yes, we are our worst. Yes, for sure. But
dialogue.
I only have to deal with like the guys, you know what I mean? And if you're basing entertainment as we do with the whole package, I mean, you talk to record labels, they want the whole package. Well, what's the whole package? You got to look, you got to sound, you got to do this, you got to do
the followers.
you have the followers. Your numbers have to be up, like so.
You have to be able to pack a gig. Like what?
Yeah,
Isn't that the
like
promoter's
what- yeah.
job?
So now,
Bring your own lighting.
yeah, for sure.
I just
No,
threw that one in there.
I have brought my own lighting. Trust
Yes.
me.
We brought our own craft services.
So what kind of, there are so many kinds of DJs and I would even say genres of DJing. So what kind of DJ are you?
I would consider myself more of a mix show DJ. So I would I would do, like, I pride myself on being able to have smooth transitions and blending, and I'm more of that type. I can scratch, yes, but it's not, don't put your money on me winning a scratch battle. You know what I mean? I'm not winning any scratch battles, but I love...
That's cool, though, that you're in touch with the art form.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am practicing and stuff. It was something that I tried really hard. I wanted to be a battle DJ. And then a mentor of mine, DJ Dalo, one of the mentors, he can scratch, but I was getting... Sorry, let me back up. My original first mentor, whoever believed in me, DJ Scratchmaster D, he is a legendary scratch battle DJ from St. Louis. And if you know anything about scratch battling, St. Louis was really heavy, and he's amazing. He's actually pretty well known still there. So I was, he took a chance and he started mentoring me, but we were only practicing scratching and battling. So I have battle techniques in my head, how to, spin records and do all this crazy tricks. I have them, and I have the knowledge to do it. I have to practice it, but I have the knowledge to do it. But then DJ Dala, another mentor of mine, took me aside and was like, yeah, the scratching is great, but do you want to be a careered musician?
That's right.
And I said, well, yeah, duh. He's like, you have to learn how to mix. He's like, your mixing, basically told me my mixing was terrible. It sounded like crap, which was true. He's like, your BPMs aren't matching up. You have no smooth transitions. He's like, when I'm listening to you play at a club, you literally, you're throwing your beat off, and when I'm dancing, I shouldn't be dancing this way and then have to stop and then dance another way because of everything. So long story short, he really was the one who made me the careered musician. He's the one that taught me how to mix and blend and to take that and then get paid to be at the clubs and make a career and to be able to be on radio.
That's awesome.
Because battle DJing, you don't get paid to battle DJ.
It's just like showing off your chops.
Yeah, it's just showing. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Like, oh, look
it's just
how
showing
fast
off.
I can play. Look at all these crazy fills I could do on the drums.
Exactly.
And I was just say, as a musician, we always get it. Play to the room. If you have people on the dance floor, like we just did a big corporate party not too long ago, and we both looked at each other like, yo, they're on the dance floor. We're going to have to stay for the next 90 minutes and make sure they dance it out.
Yeah.
So that meant like for 90 minutes, song after song, the BPM was high, and we were just rolling through.
Did you have to change your
classics.
set just based
Yes.
off of
Yes.
instantaneously,
On the
right?
fly.
On the
Because
fly.
it's something that we talked about early on. She's like, "Hey, I want to build a set and we stick to it." I'm like, "Yeah, you
No.
can.
Yeah.
You can use it as a template, but you're never going to stick to it.
Never.
It's always going to change.
Never.
That's just part of the reading the room.
Being live event, or
Yeah.
being a live musician.
Right,
Absolutely.
right. Now that being said, when you work for like a creative event, a company, right, a company that puts on events,
Oh, right.
that set list is never going
that,
to change.
that
Like,
script that is staying
right,
verbatim. Yeah.
And it's interesting because like you kind of admire that, you know, like the show that we do,
Well, both
you know,
ways
on
it's
the
kinda
side,
cool, yeah.
right? But even still, even with our show that we work on the side, you know, with the big, you know, we're in stadiums and we got 45,000 people coming in.
Incredible.
We're not scripted per se. Like we have to. We have to see what's going on. My job, especially, which used to be her job. Yeah, everything matters of what happened
On the fly.
just now. What just now happened. So, you know, you have to be in it. You have to be aware. You can't just be, you know, in the field somewhere. I tell her all the time, I equate it to actually, because I grew up in sports, but I was baseball. So I played every sport, from first base to third base to shortstop, like you name it. I played every position. But it wasn't until they actually put me in catcher that I became a good player, because I was involved in every single play. Like the ball was either in my hand or in the pitcher's hand, and
Right.
that's it. And that's, you know, her and I, our other co-host, he's doing an amazing job, and he's filling a lot of the show as well. But I really feel like to some degree, Kay Young and I, it's our responsibility to deliver the message. You know, like everybody can see what's happening, you know, but
So
it's up to us. Yeah.
It keeps you on your toes. You can't phone
Yeah.
it in.
Right.
No.
Yeah,
No.
I love that. Now, something else that we talked about briefly, and perhaps we can close with this. Tell us about, you're on Sirius XM radio, is that right?
Yeah,
Where can
so
we find you there? What channel, what station, what time?
kind of going back to the very first conversation we had about the DJ coalitions, you know, as far as like giving each other, you know, contacts and stuff, I was able to have my debut on Sirius XM through one of my DJs in the coalition, DJ Superstar J. He has a weekly show there, and so he gives the platform to do a mix on the show. And he tries to rotate all the DJs, and you know, you can do it live, or you know, for me, I have to send it in if I'm not up in New York. But so I had my debut there, and you know, it went really great. I thought, you know, it went great, and then but because I'm not in New York, and because they do it live, my opportunity wasn't given so much. So what happened is though just that one show and that one mix that I did, I used it to kind of put feelers out for other radio stuff. Not Sirius XM, not anything that has to do with them. I wasn't even worried about it. I was trying to put feelers out for other stuff. Hey guys, I have this mix, and I was trying to capitalize on this one mix for Sirius XM.
Right.
And lo and behold, another friend of mine, she was like, "You were on Sirius XM?" She's like, "I didn't hear it." She's like, "But I'm trying to get you on. I'd love to put you on as a DJ on another Sirius XM station that I'm working with."
Is that Flood?
Yeah. Oh, no.
No?
Another one. It was another station on Sirius XM. It
Okay.
fell through,
Oh,
but I ended up networking and becoming cool with the music and program director.
there you go.
And then it was just like a trickle down. Hey, do you want to do Sirius XM Fly this month? Okay, sure. Yeah. Hey, you want to do our Sirius XM Fly for July 4th special? Sure, not a problem. And then that went into Andrew Barber from Fake Shore Drive, who's got a huge name in the Midwest, Chicago. And he's like, "Hey, are you interested in doing the drive on Shade 45?" So now, you know, it's called, we talk
Love
about
that.
capitalizing on
That's
one
it.
thing. I capitalized on that one thing.
That's right.
And so now I've got a monthly show, monthly 1 hour mix show on the Drive on Shade 45 that airs, and then I have my guest stuff that I still do with DJ Superstar J, and I still guest DJ on
That's incredible.
Sirius XM Fly, and you know,
That's so awesome.
yeah.
And then Sway, too. What happened
I got
there?
that was just kind of knowing the right people and networking and stuff, and so did Sway in the Morning a couple months ago. I think it was
Sway in the Morning with
Yeah.
guest DJ K Young.
Yep. And
Look
so I
at
did that
that.
one and
So
did
was that
one
an
there.
interview or was that an
Interview and a mix, and I did it live with Heather B and all that stuff, and
That's so awesome.
yeah, it was pretty cool. And actually, I had met him at the station. He's super cool guy. I met him at the station when we were just kind of hanging out, doing some stuff, and he's like, the guy that the music director was like, "Hey, this is DJ K Young. She's from from the Midwest," and he's like, "Well, next time you're back, he's like, if you want to DJ on Sway in the Morning, let us know." And I was like, "Okay, really?"
Yeah.
And
Heck
yeah, he kept his word and everything.
Opportunity begets opportunity. I truly believe in that.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when you put your head down and focus on your work and put away the Google stick and the social media crap, once you come back from your work and you resurface and you check the Google stick, you find a bunch more opportunities waiting for you.
Well,
yeah.
It's so true. You just have to focus and do it.
And I know since both of you have been musicians for such a long time and in the music business for such a long time, I tell artists, and I still hold very true to this, and correct me if I'm wrong, or I'd love your guys' opinion, but I'm still in the old-fashioned way of, social media is great, but I still go out and get in the car and meet people face to face.
Get
because
up, dress up, show up.
that's how I've
That's it.
how I've accumulated my networks. It's not by it's by Facebook and Instagram and the maybe the initial hello, how are you? But then it's like if I hadn't met Lola within the year of us networking, it's gonna be like, are you are you really a real person?
Right,
Are you a troll? Like,
Yeah.
Right.
you have to. I think you should. I think it's still important to meet people in the flesh, not Skype, not FaceTime. Like,
yeah, I agree.
It is. It's funny because again, I guess that is an old school kind of approach, but it's the only approach.
I think still.
It's the only way.
It's perfect because one of my closing remarks here, words of wisdom, and it sounds like that's a good word of wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to add to that? You've really shared with us your principles and methods throughout this interview, so I appreciate that.
There's really no words of wisdom. I think for me, it's just consistency. You know, I tell artists all the time, you have to be consistent. You're not at a level to take a break and take a vacation. You know, I mean, you're an artist, you're a musician, you're a composer, you're whatever you're doing. You don't have time to take a break, so don't take a break. Be consistent. So
that's awesome. DJ K Young, before we go, you ready?
Yes.
We're going to do a drum roll, please. Or
Okay.
DJ roll, please.
All right, what are we doing?
We're going to do rapid fire questions.
Oh,
now,
I'm
here's
nervous.
how I want to do it today.
Okay.
So I want both of you ladies to get close to the mic.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
I am going to ask a question. Now, I want this to be quick. No
Okay.
thinking. So just
Oh,
write the
quick.
answer.
Okay.
All right.
Now, either you or Lola can answer for you.
Oh.
But we might say it at the same time.
It's okay.
Okay, we're gonna talk
That's
over
what
each
makes
other.
it more fun.
Okay.
You ready?
Okay. Wait. Am I answering this about her or is she answering about me?
Yeah, are we answering about each other?
I don't know. That's a good question. All right, let's try it like that. All right, first we're gonna do DJ K Young.
Okay.
I'm nervous.
You're gonna tell us. This is great. I love
I
it.
know.
So DJ
I got
is gonna
clammy.
tell us. K Young is gonna tell us Lola's favorites, and Lola's gonna tell us DJ's favorites.
Okay.
I think I'll be all right.
I think we can do
You
this.
ready?
Yeah.
So K Young is up first. So Lola, you just have to sit.
Okay.
So I have to pretend. Can I not?
You
hear
can
these
listen.
things?
Yeah, that's fine.
All
Okay.
right.
So, what's Lola's favorite food?
Oh, sushi.
Ding.
I like ding. I like the game show noise. What's her favorite libation?
Oh, wine, vodka.
You didn't hit it yet.
What?
Starts with an
Hi.
S.
Oh, sake for sure. Well, trust me, I had like 5. I was gonna go wine, vodka, sake.
I had 17.
Whiskey.
Oh, she doesn't like whiskey.
Okay, sorry.
How does she spend her free time, although she doesn't have a lot of it?
I don't know if she can answer that. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
Well,
loss
man,
of
there was
5
something
things.
we're going to tell you.
well, she does the monster stuff. I don't know.
not
That's a
free time,
loaded.
That's work time.
What do I do with my free time?
Yeah.
I don't have free time. That's
Okay,
a trick
good. I
question.
like it.
That is kind of
All
a
right.
trick question.
What activities does she do on flights? Lola, quiet.
Besides have free cocktails in first class?
Enough said. Like she gets first class.
Yeah, I don't get free time. But they're-
Free drink.
What's her favorite artist, band, or song?
Oh my gosh, that's a loaded question
what's
too.
Something she listens to a lot. Something, anything.
Everything, like we talk, like our conversations about music are so.
What's one of her faves?
I can tell you one of her faves of.
I don't think she knows.
Music.
I don't know.
I don't think she knows.
Oh, you guys aren't.
I haven't even played my music.
You guys aren't as synergistic as I thought.
No, but I know all her
wait a minute.
favorite TV shows.
I was just to say her favorite TV show or movie
man.
that she's streaming.
I Love Lucy,
Okay, you got it.
Bob's Burgers.
You got
One favorite though that you were always on.
Ancient Alien.
Okay, there you go. There
Ding,
you go.
ding.
There you go. And what would here's the final question: what would Lola do if she wasn't a career musician or a career entertainer? And this could be whatever you want it to be.
Wow.
Make it up creatively.
Oh.
What would I be?
As she pushes her.
But it can't be musically, right?
Well, if she wasn't.
If she wasn't
in music or the
period.
entertainment
Okay.
industry,
What would she
do?
be?
An accountant.
No, I think she would be in the science field.
Pretty accurate.
That's very good.
As she's wearing a NASA
Oh, well, I
shirt.
mean, that wasn't like a giveaway, but just all of our conversations about like aliens and
Right.
her ideas of like the world, and she'd probably in the scientific psychology realm. Yeah, for sure.
like
See,
it.
she knows me.
I like it.
Yay!
All right.
Okay, now my
it's
turn.
Lola's turn.
Let me
You're
get.
gonna tell us. You're gonna tell us about K Young's favorites here.
Let's
Okay.
see how well I listened.
Yeah. Is this proper here?
I think I'm good.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
All right. So Lola, what is DJ K Young's favorite food?
Well, sushi or pho.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
What's her favorite libation?
Well, I mean, she hasn't showed me her drinking side right now.
I've been sober.
Right now it's
that's right.
water.
Yes,
Okay.
But
that's true.
I'm gonna say she likes whiskey, but I don't know. I really don't. Oh, she's a tequila girl.
Okay,
Oh
you're
wait.
whispering. We heard it. Okay. I like it though, but I don't. I don't give you that one.
It's not my fault though. It's her fault. She hasn't showed me.
How does she spend her free time? I know you don't see her during her free time, but how does she spend it? If you had to guess.
Yeah, I've seen her, FaceTime with her friends. Yeah. She's very honestly it puts me to sleep.
Okay. I would say that's
I know I don't do that with my friends.
Very social.
That's true. You don't really FaceTime.
I told her I was
FaceTime with me.
I'm terrible. I'm a terrible friend.
All right. What activities does she enjoy on a flight?
I would say watching a movie or sleeping.
Oh, dang! Yay! That is 100% accurate.
And what's some of her favorite music or songs or bands or artists?
Well, she's a music mutt like me, but she's definitely more so on the urban side of things. She doesn't like Babyface.
You're being facetious, obviously.
No, she doesn't. No, Mary J. Blige, I know she's a big fan of.
Okay.
See, we've been watching The Masked Singer together.
Oh, gotcha.
And
Okay.
all her favorites are on there.
Got it. All right. And her favorite TV show, movie, something that she's streaming?
DuckTales. Oh, Chippendales, Rescue Rangers.
For real?
Yes.
Disney Plus. I'm so excited.
So your entertainment level is like on an 8-year-old?
It's
sure.
80s baby all the way. And then Gargoyles, too.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Okay. And wrapping this up, nice. What would DJ K Young do if she wasn't a career musician or in the entertainment industry? What would she do?
Whatever she would be doing, she would be making everybody laugh. I'm thinking, but you know what? I also see you kicking ass in the kitchen somehow, some way. I don't know. Do you like to cook?
I hate cooking, but I would love to be
An ass kicker?
a food critic.
Okay.
I can
Yeah,
see
it's
that.
kind of low key my thing.
What I see is you like an Asian Gordon Ramsay of some way, like people fearing you when you walk through the door. That is so a food critic. Yes.
I like it. All right, ladies, this has been a fun episode.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Give yourselves a hand.
Yay!
Seriously. Thank you, DJ
No,
K
thank
Young,
you.
for being our guest today. Thank you, Lovely Lola, for being our co-host.
It was fun.
DJ
Fun.
K Young, where can we find you online? The website, obviously.
Yep. Everything is DJ K Young. It's DJ KYUNG. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, my website. Yeah.
Awesome.
Everything is DJ K Young.
Love it.
Yeah.
All
Make
right.
it easy on you.
Rock on or DJ on.
DJ on. Scratch
Lola?
on.
Yes, Lola, where can we find you? Besides being a co-host on the Career Music Podcast.
You can follow me at nomadandlola.com.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, last thing. So you guys are touring. I don't want to say because it's time sensitive, and this episode will probably come out in a couple weeks. But you're on a Monster Jam tour, and we can find you on tour somewhere. Name some of the cities that you've done in the past that you might do in the future.
Oh gosh, we go everywhere.
We're gonna be in Anaheim, and then we're gonna be in
Arlington,
and El Paso, and Seattle, and Denver,
and maybe Las Vegas. Maybe Orlando.
It sounds like you ladies should take this show on the road.
No, maybe
did.
we'll do our own podcast.
There you go.
Instead of gears and nachos or nachos and gears, it'll be something else.
Oh, I like it.
Tampons and
sushi and tampons.
Yes, sushi and tampons. It is.
Yes, that's awesome.
I love it. I can teach you the app to use. So.
Sweet.
I'm going to make the logo today.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
You're listening to the Career Musician Podcast with creator and host, Nomad. Download, subscribe, and leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast platforms.
I'm just a nomad, nowhere man, writing the songs in this one-man band. A nomad, yeah, I'm a nomad. So hush now, darling, you'll be fine. I'll be back this way sometime. Until then, baby, don't you cry.
Hey, this is Nomad, host and creator of the Career Musician Podcast, and I am thoroughly stoked to be an official member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Pantheon Podcast Network is the first of its kind as an all-music-based podcast collective. Please be sure to check us out at pantheonpodcast.com for more info.